And like I mentioned before, this morning we are talking about the concept of dwelling in your past. The message this morning is a very simple one. Don't be a prisoner of your past. And as we go through the course of the month of Ramadan, it is something that we should try our best to remember. Always remember that what has to be will be. What has missed you was never meant for you. And what is meant for you will never ever miss you. And that is one of the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And he mentions the reality of faith is knowing that what has passed you by was never ever going to befall you. And what has befallen you was never ever going to pass you. And if we can wrap our minds around that particular saying, it makes life so much easier. Sometimes we try so hard to get something. We try so hard to accomplish and to achieve something. And then when we don't, we feel dejected. We feel disappointed. And then on the other hand, there is something that we may not like at all. And then that comes our way. And again, we have the emotions running through us. Remember that whatever is decreed for you by the Almighty will come your way. And whatever is not decreed, you can literally move a mountain. It still will not come your way. Because at the end of the day, what it is, it comes down to the decree of the Almighty. And you should know that if the whole world were to gather together in order to help you, they will not be able to help you except if Almighty Allah has written so. And if the whole world were to gather in order to bring you some harm, they will not bring you harm, they will not be able to bring you harm unless Almighty Allah has written so to happen. So a very simple but extremely important message this morning. Don't linger in your past to the point that it begins to affect your present and your future. Don't linger in the past to the extent that you can't see the opportunities literally right there in front of you right now. The opportunity at hand is indeed the blessed month of Ramadan. Don't allow your past to hamper what is taking place at this point in time. As the saying goes, don't cry over spilled milk. There is no use worrying over past events which cannot be changed. There is simply no point in being upset or regretting something that has already happened to you that you simply cannot change. And if you talk vehicular terms, in a vehicle there is a windscreen and there is a rear view mirror. Now of course there is a reason why the windscreen is significantly larger than the rear view mirror. It is an indicator that what is in front of you is by far more important than what is behind you. As a matter of fact, what is behind you is only worth a few occasional glances from time to time. Similarly, within the scope of your life, what is in front of you, meaning your future, meaning the present, is by far much more important than what is behind you, meaning your past. Your past is only worth a few occasional glances from time to time, but your real and full focus has to be on current issues, present, and also future. Every second you dwell on the past, you steal from your future, you steal from the present. Every moment you spend dwelling and you spend focusing on your problems, you take away from finding your solutions. So of course we've all got issues and we've all got problems, but especially in the month of Ramadan, don't allow those situations, don't allow those problems to eat away from the opportunity that is currently at hand. Develop the mentality where you hand over those issues to Almighty Allah, whatever issues they may be. We all have different issues connected to us. Every person's situation is different. But if you can hand over those issues to Allah and say, "Oh Allah, I make you in charge of these issues, these problems. Oh Allah, you take care of them." And on that note, I wanted to share with you this. There was once a man who came out for a walk on the riverbank one morning. It was still dark, as the morning sun had not yet fully risen. After walking for a while, his foot hit a bag that was lying there. So of course, out of curiosity, the man picked up the bag and put his hand inside. As it was still dark, he could not see, but he felt around inside the bag and he found that the bag was filled with stones. So to pass the time, the man sat there on the bank of the river and started to pick the stones out of the bag one by one and throw them into the water. By the time he got down to the last stone, the sun came up, and now because of the sunrise, sunlight had spread all around him. And now in the light, the man was now able to see what he was holding in his hand. He was now able to see what he had been throwing into the water all along. He saw that the stone he was holding onto was shining very brightly. And instantly he realized that the stone he was holding onto was no ordinary stone. He was stunned because what he was holding onto in his hand was actually a precious ruby. Seeing this, he started crying bitterly. Looking at the last ruby, the last stone in his hand, he started cursing the darkness as he realized that he had thrown away so many rubies. He had thrown away so many beautiful opportunities. Just then, a wise man went past and saw him crying, and he asked, "What's happened? Why are you crying like this?" So the man told him what happened and how he had lost so many precious stones. The wise man then said to him, "Son, don't be sad. You are still lucky the sun rose in time before you threw away the last stone. Otherwise, you would have lost every single thing. This one precious stone can still help you. So instead of crying over what has gone, you should be happy with what you have in your hand currently. Rejoice and strive for a better future, and thank Allah that you still have this one opportunity there in front of you." And of course, after hearing the wise man's words, the man stopped crying and he understood what was there in front of him, and he went home happily. So the learning point from this is that you should not keep regretting over what you have lost. Rather, you should move ahead in life in a positive way. Move ahead with what you have in hand and make the most of it. Life is full of changes. Life is full of losses and unexpected turns. You may lose opportunities, you may lose relationships, you may lose possessions. You will lose time that you can never ever turn back. It's natural to feel a sense of regret or sadness when you experience these losses. However, dwelling on what is lost can hinder your ability to appreciate what you still have, and also it will hinder your ability to move forward in a positive direction. Regret itself often stems from focusing on the past, on things you cannot change. So it is absolutely important to acknowledge your feelings of loss and disappointment, but it is equally important to recognize that dwelling on those regrets does not change the past in any way, nor does it help you in the present or in the future. So instead of getting stuck in a cycle of regret, it is more productive to shift your focus. Shift your focus to what you have in hand at the present. By appreciating and making the most of what you have, what you still have in your possession, you can cultivate a sense of gratitude, a sense of resilience, and empowerment that will allow you to move forward in a positive manner. And that's the most important thing. The most important thing is being able to move forward in a positive manner. Every experience, including loss, teaches you valuable lessons that can help you to grow and that can help you to evolve as an individual. By approaching life with a mindset of learning and growth, you can turn setbacks into opportunities for self-improvement and, of course, personal development. And as you go through the course of the month of Ramadan, look at what you have in your hand right now. But by all means, it doesn't mean that you ignore the past or the lessons it has taught you. It simply means that you accept what has happened. You learn from it and you use that knowledge. you use that experience to shape your present and your future in a positive manner. Currently, we are in the month of Ramadan 2025, and I'm pretty sure you would have been able to, take an analysis of your previous Ramadans. And most definitely, you would have known the areas where you can improve on. So that is something that you can use in this month of Ramadan. Use from your education, from your knowledge of the past. Use from your experiences of the past to move forward in a positive manner. Don't you ever be a prisoner of your past. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start right where you are, and you can most definitely change the ending. Life itself is very, very unpredictable, and all of us, every single one of us, are faced with challenges, problems, and constant changes in our lives. And oftentimes, we question our past, and we wonder what would have happened if things had turned out differently. And we say to ourselves, only if I had done this, or only if this had happened, then I would have been in a much better position now. And I can tell you, if you allow these thoughts to plague your mind, these thoughts can be consuming, and they will hamper your movement forward. Dwelling in the past can sometimes lead to anxiety and depression as well. In the month of Ramadan, your time is too valuable. Your time is too valuable to waste on living in the past. Everyone tastes failure at some point. What you do is that you pick yourself up and you work on what you have currently in front of you, and that in itself would determine the general outcome of your life. When you taste failure in life, be sure to build on it. Use it as a stepping stone. Close the door on the past and don't try to forget the mistakes, because that is absolutely impossible. But at least you can learn from it. At least you can use the knowledge gained by your past mistakes, by your past failures, and you can put that knowledge into good use. So don't dwell on it. Don't let it have any more of your energy, or any more of your time, or any more of your space in the month of Ramadan. Today we are commencing day 5 already, and the days are rolling by extremely quickly. So it is absolutely imperative that we close all avenues that will destroy our time, and that literally will suck the spirituality out of the time that we have been given by the Almighty in the month of Ramadan. Some people will not get to see the end of the month of Ramadan. As a matter of fact, since the first day of the month of Ramadan till now, we have heard reports of people dying and people leaving this world. So that's a known fact. So we don't know how much time we've got, so it is absolutely imperative that we lock off those avenues for negativity, so that we can allow ourselves the opportunity to blossom in the best possible manner. So ultimately, by focusing on the present moment and making the most of what you have, you will be able to create a more fulfilling and a more meaningful Ramadan. And of course, in the larger scheme of things, a more fulfilling and a more meaningful life. So this morning, my message to you is quite simple. Let go of regrets. Hand over your problems and your issues to Almighty Allah, because really and truly, He is in charge. He is the best rectifier of affairs. Embrace what you have in your hand. Be thankful and be grateful for the blessings of Almighty Allah that you are currently experiencing. Don't ever think that Allah has not blessed you. You have been blessed in an enormous way by the Almighty. and finally move forward with confidence and optimism and chart a positive way forward. May Almighty Allah make it easy upon us. May this month of Ramadan be a source of blessing, a source of guidance, and of course a source of salvation for us as we continue on with the journey of the month of Ramadan. Well, coming up in just a short bit, we've got the live starting of the fast right here on 103.1 FM. Just as a reminder, the start of fast this morning is 5:03 a.m. The time for the breaking of the fast later on this evening is 6:20 p.m. Do stick around. This is the Suhoor Hour right here on 103.1 FM.
जश्न आमद रसूल